Hi guys, welcome to a What Happened At, and tonight we are talking about TNA Hard to Kill. TNA is back.
Wow.
TNA is back. TNA is back. It is TNA. I don't need to say Impact
But
anymore. We don't need to say it will be back. TNA is back. TNA is back, and it is back with a bang. What a show that
I was
was.
about to say, back with a bit of a bang.
Pete, I'm buzzing, mate. I'm buzzing. Like the
I,
the last the last match on that was. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Let's start from the
yeah,
beginning.
because
Let's go
there's
through the
loads.
pre-show, Pete. Come on, start us off.
We did miss the Rich Swann match. We caught right at the end. I wasn't too worried about that one.
If
That
I'm
was the
honest,
one I
neither was
wasn't
I.
worried about.
Yeah.
And then we got Brian Myers and Eddie
Well,
Edwards
let's talk about
versus
who,
Eric Young.
let's talk about who won it because we did see the end.
Yeah, Steve Macklin
Steve
picked
Macklin
up the win.
beat Rich Swann. Yeah.
Rich
So
Swann. We literally saw the pin. That was what we saw.
we saw 5 minutes or so of the match, but yeah.
Um, And then we got Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards against Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian.
A little bit of breaking news. Sorry,
Go
Pete.
on.
Jack Perry returned on New Japan Strong tonight. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, NJPW Strong, was on there tonight, ripping up his
Okay.
AEW contract on TV.
It's a work.
It's definitely a work, but it happened. Thought we'd mention it.
On.
That happened
Yeah.
while Hard to Kill was on.
And also, there's a bit with Christian. So
Also,
Check that out.
Christian said something about Dustin Rhodes' dad being dead, which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We won't get to that actually. But yes, sorry, mate. Carry on.
But yeah, no, Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian teaming up again for the first time in a long, long time. They mentioned it's been like, what was it, 14 years or so they first teamed up. But they lost to Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. It wasn't a bad little match. A decent pre-show match. I was quite surprised that Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian lost. I've got to admit.
Do you know what I was surprised about? The fact that Eric Young was on the pre-show, and he's only working on a handshake deal, which was a bit of a surprise to me. But he was only on the pre-show, which was a surprise to me because he was also the voiceover guy for the beginning of the show. So
Exactly.
they were like building the whole company and the TNA's history and everything around Eric Young, but he's not actually signed to the company, and they only booked him on the pre-show. So it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
it's just a strange decision. I get it because the show was stacked regardless, but it was a strange one
Yeah.
for me.
And then we got a match that I actually thought was good enough to be on the actual main card. Was Tommy Dreamer against Crazy Steve.
I can see why it wasn't on the main card. Although in all
I
fairness, I could see a match that it could have replaced on the main card if I'm honest.
yeah,
And it
I
wasn't
really
as
enjoyed
violent as I
that.
was expecting.
But no DQ match. No. What was in the bag? Oh yeah, the bag of forks.
Forks.
I was
Bag of
expecting
forks.
it was like it's either going to be we sat accommodating with Lego or it was going to be glass or thumbtacks, but it was a bag of
It was
forks.
forks. That all of the handles of the forks were wrapped in tissue paper for some reason. Now I ain't saying it's because they were worked forks, but they were worked forks, and it was definitely done for safety reasons.
But Tommy Dreamer was still taking some shots.
He did. He took some beatings. It was an interesting match. It was an interesting match, and a new digital media champion in Crazy Steve. First title change of the night. At this point, I was predicting for every single title to change hands for the night. I was wrong. I'm just going to say that now. But I predicted it, and I wasn't far wrong. But we'll get to that again. Carry on.
We did see something in between here, I think it was. We see a mystery figure.
I think it was just after that
cup.
match. We seen her arrive.
We see a female arrive with blonde hair, and no one quite knew who it was. And they were like, "Who is this?"
Yeah, we just saw the back of a female arriving at the arena with blonde hair. That was all we saw.
So we thought, right, here's the first surprise. But then we got Alicia Edwards, Danny Luna, Jodie Threat, Tasha Stills, Zaya Brookside, and Giselle Shaw for the Knockouts Ultimate X match for the #1 contendership. Good opening match, to be fair.
Solid match. I don't think it was good as some of the men's X Division matches of the past.
No, but do you know what? For a women's X Division match,
they did very well.
They
did very
bad.
well. Yeah, no, they did very well. X Division matches, typically speaking, especially Ultimate X matches, opening the show is a bit of a TNA tradition to have an X Division match opening the show. So this was. I was going to say this is the normal, but it wasn't, because it wasn't an X Division match, because it was a women's match. It was almost like a women's X Division match. It was very strange.
Yeah, well, it was the knockout Ultimate X match. Yeah,
it was good though. It was a good match. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a bit of a gamble, but I opened it up with the women's one. But I actually really liked it.
Do you want to tell me one? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't remember.
It was Giselle Shaw.
Sorry. There you go.
Yeah. Giselle Shaw won it. It was a good match. It was some decent spots in that all round.
It was a good match. And we also learned afterwards that Xia Brookside has now signed a 3-year contract with TNA, so she'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
But yes, then we moved on from the women's number 1 contenders match, I guess, and went into.
There was 2 matches. It started off with PCO versus Dirty Dango, but then PCO won by disqualification apparently, and then they added another match and turned it into a tag match.
Yes,
because PCO was getting a beat down, and then Rhino come out to save him.
Yeah, so it ended up being
a 6-man match because Jake something come out.
Jake something.
It was actually Jake something.
That was his surname. Something. Yep.
Ended up PCO, Rhino, and Jake something against Dirty Dango, Alpha Bravo, and Oleg, and I still can't get used to seeing him as Oleg.
No, it just will always be Vladimir Kozlov. It just will. But
then you also informed me of the biggest shock I think I've ever had in wrestling.
Well, we didn't mention
PCO
Santino
actually
was the one that came out as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, Santino actually made it a 6-man
match, which was always fun.
But then you told me who PCO actually is, and I had to check it out because I was like, "There's no way PCO was one of the Quebecers."
Yeah.
He actually was.
That man is ancient. He came out to a special entrance as well. Like he came out on a gurney like he was dead, and was revived by doctors who did like electrocuting, and there was sparks. And it was cool, and he was announced as the what they called the Frankenstein of France. No. The Canadian Frankenstein, French Canadian Frankenstein, or something like that.
I was about to say it was Frankenstein's monster mentioned.
Yeah, it was definitely described as the Frankenstein's monster of Canada or something like that, because he is French Canadian. So that was all I mentioned anyway.
Why does this man in his late 50s think he's Darby Allin? He was doing flips.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
The stuff, the jumps he was doing off the top rope.
This match was one of the tamer matches that I've seen of this guy. He is nuts.
This was absolutely mental. He was doing flips, but because he's so tall,
like he's crazy.
By the time he's in the middle of the flip, his head's just missing the ground.
Just about to hit the floor already. Yeah. He's a big dude. He's a big dude to be doing big flips. Yeah. It's scary.
PCO, Rhino, and Jake something picks up the win, but that was a really good match. Really good match. Then we got a surprise tag team match for the TNA Knockout Women's World titles.
Surprise women's tag match, which did surprise us, but it didn't surprise me because of the prediction that I'd made of all the titles changing hands, which was wrong. But at this point, I still thought it could have been right, and I was like, this is going to prove my point.
MK Ultra come out, and then no one really knew who it was. We had the screen going. I was like, oh, maybe we're going to see
I'm sure some people knew
who
it was. We're a bit out of the loop with TNA, but
Decay, Havoc and Rosemary come out.
Yeah,
and
Jessica Havoc and Rosemary. I did not expect to see Jessica Havoc back at all. You know, she's got a bit of a history, but do you know what? Hey, live and let live. I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the wrestling. The wrestling's what matters to me. Yeah, it was good.
And you know what? Even including this next match, every single match was so fast paced. You could tell TNA was back. There was no bad matches really. we was loving it, but I enjoyed them all pretty much.
Yeah, I think we're about to get to one of the matches that I thought was a bit. No, we'll talk about it when we get to it. Carry on. It wasn't the next match. It wasn't the next match.
No, I was about to say, well, the next match was. Oh, we had the big announcement.
The
Scott D'Amore come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came out looking like Taz.
I don't know. He didn't look like Taz.
He was wearing the orange suit with a very, very orange face.
And he was so tanned that he was almost the same colour as jacket. It was quite amusing. Dan, if you can find a picture and put it up now, just flash it up. Please do, because it was funny. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed, but it was
it's
funny.
like he's gone. It's like he went for a fake tan. They went, do you know what we could do to make this even better? Let's give him that suit because it's the same colour as his face.
Yeah. It was funny.
But they announced their own TNA are actually gone into partnership now, haven't they?
Yeah.
With Lucha Libre, AAA. AAA. So they had the next match, which you predicted this match was going to be with Kushida. Is it Del Vikingo and Chris Sabin?
Vikingo, yeah.
Really good match again. Three-way match for the X Division title.
Vikingo is very, very, very good anyway. Like
some of the flips so fast paced.
In this match were just
yeah.
Both me and
some
Pete were sort
crazy
of sat there like,
moves
for a lot of the match. Like wow,
yeah,
very, 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 very good. Like all of the match. I don't think there was a bad moment in this match. To be honest with you,
no, I think this might have been my match of the night. For how fast paced it was, the triple threat, some of the spots. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I'd say this was probably match of the night. Yeah, I can't argue. I'm trying to think of one that was better, but no, I think this probably was match of the night.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Chris Sabin picked up and he retained.
He retained, which proved my theory completely wrong and blew me out the water straight away. So I was just like, yeah, well, sorry, I tried.
What did shock me was the next match was the second longest match of the night. Mm-hmm. Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstone.
Yeah.
Someone we didn't really know too much about.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about Josh. Well, I know a little bit about Josh Alexander. I've seen quite a few of his matches in TNA. But Alex Hammerstone, I'll be honest, this might be the first time I've heard of him. It's probably not.
He's been spoken about quite a bit. Like we was looking, they were saying he's won a lot of titles where he's been before, and I think it was 2022 in the PWI inside the top 500. He was ranked number 26,
which is
someone who's never really been in big companies. But you said he reminded you a lot of Brian Cage, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. For me personally, anyway. For a lot of people, probably not. But for me personally,
no, I think he did as well.
Giant, muscly guy, very strong, very, very agile for his size. Yeah, he was a slightly smaller Brian Cage for me, and to be honest,
he could definitely do a few flips and bits.
We've already got Brian Cage, so why would we need another one? No, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it's like sometimes there's only enough spots on rosters for one. So in TNA, cool, they've got their own Brian Cage.
Yeah, then we got the Rascals, Speedball Mountain, Grizzled Young Veterans, and ABC.
Speedball Mountain. It wasn't Speedball Mountain, though, was it?
They've put them down as Speedball. Speedball Mountain. Mike Bailey, and
because it was supposed to be Speedball Mountain, because it was supposed to be Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven, and Speedball, but
yes, but they've actually Trent Seven couldn't get there apparently because of travel issues.
There you go.
The flights. But they've actually listed them still as Speedball Mountain.
Yeah, but that's probably because they listed it beforehand. But yeah, no, it wasn't that because, like I say, he didn't get there. It was because of the weather in North America is pretty bad. He wasn't able to travel to the venue.
It was a last minute change.
So they replaced him with
Laredo Kid.
So I asked you to say it because I don't think I can pronounce it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, another AAA wrestler. Made sense.
This for me was the worst match of the night.
The most disappointing one because
very, very disappointing.
Whole card, all of us said this tag team match looks really good.
We did.
Apart from, there was a couple of spots where it was like, okay, this is good. And then the ending went, okay, we still don't know quite what happened at the end. From the elevated cutter to a move that I want to watch back because it absolutely looks
like a
mental.
doubled over DDT. Like, it was a brilliant finish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I really,
this match
really
has been a
enjoyed
bit
the
slow.
finish.
All but this has been amazing.
Yeah, the finish was
for that
great.
finish.
Speaking of very good finishes, Josh Alexander's finisher was great during that match as well.
It was.
The underhook pile driver, essentially, wasn't it? It was very good.
Yeah, all of them were very fast paced. This was the only match, the tag team match. We said, considering it was like so many people involved, this was the slowest one, really.
Yeah, it's because they went with the format of only 2 men in the ring at any time. And I don't understand why they do that with multi-tag team matches. It shouldn't happen. They should just let 4 men be in the ring. Because the thing is, and we said this, it was very early on, to be fair. They started with rest holds and stuff, and it's like,
yeah,
it's 4 of you. You don't need rest holds.
It kind of felt very flat.
If you need a rest hold, rest. Like, put someone else in the match. There's 8 people stood at ringside. There's 2 other teams. At one point, like, just tag out, put someone else in there, get a bit of a rest, and then tag out, and like, keep it moving. Like, just. But yeah.
Well, how fast paced this whole pay per view was before that.
And this one was very slow in comparison. Yeah.
And at one point, there was all 8 men in the ring. It was like, okay, right, this could really step up and it could go absolutely crazy. And no, they kicked everyone back out and carried on. Yeah. So it was a bit. But then we got to see the surprise person that the female.
Yes,
we got to see her next. And it ended up, I can't remember what name she's actually got now. Let me have a look.
But it's listed for you.
Because I'm looking through to see where it is. And I can't actually find it yet. But it was.
It was Dana Brooke, but under her.
Personally, from known as Dana Brooke.
Her new name. What was her name? Ash. Ash. It was Ash something. I can't remember what it said, but it was Ash something. That was her new gimmick, I guess. Is now she came out as Ash and she got somebody with her, and yeah.
I want to jump back massively, literally, because I can't believe we forgot. And I want to jump back to something before we go into this match. We got to see AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar, at one point.
That was
and
way
it deserves
back
a
on
mention.
The pre-show. Yeah.
Yeah, and that deserves a mention because he was with Woohoo Kid, and they was about to perform their new single until somebody come out and kind of interrupted them.
We had a bit of an issue during it. We had a bit of a technical issue, which was kind of the worst timing possible for a technical issue. But so AJ Francis's music was playing, or new song was playing.
Just started.
Literally, as it was playing, our screen kind of cut out. And as it cut out, we saw a picture of Joe Hendry on the screen. So we knew what was happening, but we didn't hear any of it until he was already in the ring. And then Joe Hendry debuted a song about AJ Francis and about how he falls over on TV and he's the Cheez-It champ.
If I wouldn't have even mentioned it, apart from I want people, if you haven't seen it, to go back and look at the song.
It's definitely worth looking up. The Cheez-It champ song. It was very good by Joe Hendry.
Absolutely fantastic.
It was good. It was good.
But that was the only reason I was mentioning it, because we need to hear that song again at some point.
Right. We're on the women's match. So
back to Jordan Grace against Trinity.
Well, before we talk about that match, there was 2 other people in attendance tonight that weren't listed and weren't shown on the cameras. But both Bayley and Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Moné, were both sat up on one of the balconies, which is where the commentators have been seen all night. There's a picture of it in our Discord, which Thub has just posted up for us. And you can tell it's the exact same arena. But it is both of them were sat there together tonight to support Trinity during her match.
Because there is massive rumours that Trinity is going to WWE soon.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I'd say Mercedes coming back is also a very big possibility with Bayley being there. You know, it's hey, they could just all be friends and supporting each other. Let's not.
They are massive friends in free. They've never hid that.
Yeah. So yeah, go on to the match.
Trinity against Jordan Grace. We knew it was going to be a really good match. Didn't disappoint, did it? There was spot after spot after spot. Jordan Grace showed how strong she was. We was really shocked when we found out she was only 5'3" though. That did shock Link a bit.
Absolutely.
Really, though, she was only 5'3".
5'3".
You could tell it was going to be a very good match, this one. And there was a few really good spots from both of them.
I'm going to throw it out there as well. She might only be 5'3", but I am such a huge fan of Jordan Grace.
She's so
incredible.
good. She's definitely very good.
Just absolutely incredible. Like,
well, I've got to admit, at one point I thought it's going to be a bit of a walkover. It could be potentially a squash match, but it was a few times Trinity actually at one point we thought Trinity picked up the win.
This was a very good match. I think it was probably one of the best matches I've ever seen Trinity in. Personally.
Yeah.
Like, she threw everything she had at her and vice versa. Like, it was a very, very good match.
Jordan Grace picks up the win, but it was a very, very good match. It was very close at times. But it was well deserved. It was well deserved. And then we went on to the last match, which was Alex Shelley going as champion against Moose.
Moose.
This was Moose Beast or Fired.
Moose.
Briefcase world title match, weren't it?
Stop.
And it was a good match, to be fair.
It was a good match. It was a very solid match. Personally, I've made no secret of this. I don't like Alex Shelley as world champion. I think he's too small to be a world champion. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I also hated Rey Mysterio as a world champion because he was too small.
I kind of get what you mean after seeing Alex Shelley make Moose flip about with a clothesline.
Yeah, it does.
It's like you had to basically jump to do the clothesline.
Bear in mind, Moose is a former American footballer, a huge man, like huge. Moose is massive. Alex Shelley is not, and he's hitting him with his fist, and it's making Moose do double flips and stuff, and it's like, nah. I'm sorry.
I used to watch TNA quite a bit, and then I stopped for a while once Moose come in.
Yeah.
And then I started picking up again a bit later, so I missed the whole Moose bit. And when Moose first came in, it was a bit of a joke gimmick. And I watched him, and I was like, do you know what?
He was.
He's actually really good.
Oh yeah, he learned how to wrestle essentially in TNA, or in Impact as it was at the time. He started from scratch there, and has earned his way to the top of the card. And honestly, he deserves to be there. I think he's very, very good.
Yeah. It was another good match, and
Moose, he's now the world champion. So
Moose picks up the win, and then it was good. 5 minutes before, and I went.
Just wait a second. Wait a second. Before you go on to our big moment of the night. During the match itself, we questioned who was heel and who was face, didn't we? We were like,
yeah.
Like, because obviously we know Moose's stable and faction with the system were
they are
the other heels, but Moose was getting cheered a lot,
Moose also come down wearing a TNA flag.
Yeah, which is you don't put your company logo on a heel because you don't want your company logo to be getting booed because that's just bad business.
Yep. Moose was definitely a face.
I think he was a face for most of this match, although he was definitely a heel at the very end. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good match. Moose picks up the win. It
was a very good match with the big spear, big spear.
Yeah, he's the stable come back down at the end and applauded Moose while he picks up the title.
Yeah,
and then the screen went red, and it was like, who is this? We don't know whose music this is. Brand new music. And go on, Link. I'll let you say who pops up on the screen because you've been waiting for this moment for so long.
Came up just ever so slowly. NICNEMETH. It was Nic Nemeth. Nic Nemeth. Just I was so excited. So excited, and you see all of the rest of the system turn around and they're looking up the entrance ramp, and Moose is doing the standing in the ring, looking down the ramp towards them. It's like he's clearly behind him. He's clearly coming in behind him. Everybody can see it a mile away. And guess what happened?
Link wanted one thing.
He came in behind him. Oh,
Link was like zigzag, please, zigzag.
But he didn't. Moose went for a punch, and as Moose went for a punch, Ziggler ducked him, hit him with a super kick, and then bang with a zigzag. So good. So good.
The crowd were going nuts.
Obviously, Nemeth was like, none of this, not going to hang around because the lads are going to come down the ramp and he's going to get triple
jump
teamed.
straight with the crowd.
He was called the most wanted man in wrestling as he left into the crowd, got up into the crowd, into the fans as the commentators were like, yeah, it's been a great night. Welcome back. TNA is back. Nemeth's in the crowd shouting, TNA, screaming and being happy, and all the fans, TNA.
Wearing his Nick t-shirt.
Wearing his Nic Nemeth t-shirt. Rips it open, big TNA logo. It 100% looks like Nic Nemeth is TNA.
They did say, Nic Nemeth has signed for TNA. Did they say it? The commentator said, Nic Nemeth has signed for TNA.
So Nic Nemeth, he's got to be going for the world title. He's got to be going for the world. Honestly, I've wanted one thing for TNA, and it's to have that one big name to go to help carry that company into the next generation. And by big name, I mean someone on par of like Christian's level, because obviously when Christian came over to TNA in the early days, Christian was what elevated that company. In my opinion, anyway, Christian is what elevated that company. He gave it that little bit of star power that it needed to just go whoop up to that next level, and then they managed to pull in people like Kurt Angle and guys like that, and it went from a company that was it was good. They were putting on great matches, great wrestling, to wow, this is a big company tonight, now. They are a big deal.
I literally said to you tonight, with the mid cards they've got, the X division, the women's X division they're doing at the minute, like the matches,
solid,
everything they've got. And I said to you, the only thing for me that's missing is one or two big names around the main title picture. And even you said their mid card is amazing. It's just that top level. And I think they've got their first one of the 2 or 3 they need of big names. They've done it.
100%. 100%. Nemeth is obviously he's doing other things. He's got matches over in New Japan planned already.
But this is good for me because I think there's a good chance you might get people going across, because we don't know who Impact we work with, TNA can work with. They might have some rivalries going across, because if he's signed for TNA and they're having him go over there, you could get a couple coming back over. The other way.
This is very true, but like I'm so unbelievably happy to see Nemeth in TNA. Honestly, I think it's the best location for him. He's never going to be I don't even want to say this. He's never going to be world champion in a company like AEW. There's too many like big stars, big names. It's not even big stars, big names in AEW for them to be able to consider Nemeth into the title picture. The same goes for WWE. Like if he went back to WWE, they can't put him into the main event picture. He just isn't. He isn't that guy anymore.
They spoke perfect. We said they need
like TNA. He's that big fish in a small pond. He is.
You need
the
one or
guy.
2 top stars, and he is a top star.
Yeah.
So this has kind of been made for him now.
Yeah. He's 100%. Like, I'm so excited to see what Nemeth can do in TNA. So excited.
Do you know the best bit for me?
I'm a big fan, honestly.
I think with the whole finish, the build up, the way they've done it, I'd give this pay-per-view a good 8.5, 9 tonight, because I've enjoyed it so much.
I was thinking 8.5. Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it.
I'm with you.
Like I said, the only one that made me be a bit was the tag, but then the finish to that made it even better.
The finish was very, very good in that. But not seeing the Grizzled Young Veterans win the titles kind of made me sad, because I love the Grizzled Young Veterans, as everybody knows.
It was such a good finish. It showed ABC off to me, because I'd never seen them, and it's pretty much the way it ended. You kind of think the Grizzled Young Veterans are the next opponents. it kind of looks like they're going to be getting title shot next, maybe. So I'm interested in watching that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm brilliant pay-per-view for the first one back.
Absolutely.
And do you know
incredible.
what? Also, they said at the beginning, this is the biggest selling pay-per-view they've had in 8 years.
Yeah, like personally,
and it's fully deserved.
Like
live
like actual people there. Yeah,
because it almost sold out. They sold out. It was over less than 150 tickets left. Yeah. So fair play.
Yeah,
fully deserved.
Honestly, I was still surprised by how few tickets they sold because it was only 1,200 seats that they sold. And for a quality of show that we watched tonight, it was better than a lot of the AEW shows that we watched. Although, in fairness, they don't sell that many tickets over, do they? Let's be honest.
I think you're going to start to see, if they put matches, events, pay-per-views like that on again, they'll be selling out.
Yeah, well, I hope so because honestly, they were great. Although, honestly, I said this during as well. I'd love to see them back in the Impact Zone and have that diehard fan base that are there week in, week out. I know that sounds bad, but it worked for them because they were their own company, their own thing, marching to their own drum, having that X division that was just completely blowing everybody out the water with what it was doing. They had their own thing, and that's what made TNA for me. They'd got the old boys, but the old boys were in the back doing the little bits and bobs, like like we had Kevin Nash doing mentoring and stuff like that. But it was the main focus was on the young guys. And some of the like middle-aged guys, like we had Christian, like I said, that was helping guide the main event, and then for no apparent reason, Jeff Jarrett. But
I think I like the bit I like as well. They kept it very much TNA, like the smaller venues. Everyone was very close to the ring. There was no spread out.
Yeah,
they kept a lot of it like original again, which I really liked.
Yeah. It was a very good show, very well put together. They had very few issues. There was a couple of small botches. There was a couple of issues, it's like sound issues as well.
But I really like it because they kept that indie feel to it, and TNA always did that for me. It had that indie feel.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's always.
It's not something they wanted to happen with you.
Yeah, that's
it wasn't something they wanted. But it was definitely TNA again.
Do you know what though? It's 4:30 in the morning. We're both sat here with smiles on our faces. We've both enjoyed the pay-per-view. We've sat with 6-7 people at minimum watching the pay-per-view with us all night, who have all hopefully enjoyed it as well. Most of them seem to have.
Yeah.
What else can we? What
else
can
we want? Much more.
Yeah, so. Yeah, what happened at TNA Hard to Kill? Lots. It was very fun. We enjoyed it. And with that said, I guess we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.